In our AM 560 traffic center. Very latest this morning with Jim Telemonte.
Well, so far it's been a quieter morning than the last two, but we have a few suburban collisions to report now. There's one in Lamont on Archer Avenue right near the Veterans Memorial Tollway. There's a crash in Elmhurst at York Road and North Avenue, still there. It's been there for a little bit. And in Wooddale, there's a collision on Wooddale Road at Thorndale. On the Kennedy Expressway, you're looking at a 20-minute trip time, O'Hare to downtown, same outbound. The Eisenhower remains 28 minutes either way between 390 and downtown. The exit to Austin reopened after a stall. The Stevenson runs 29 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan 15 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both incident and delay free. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Periods of clouds and sun today, high 32, 17 at O'Hare. It is 7 this morning in Aurora and 11 in Wheaton. Your next news update is at 7. Breaking news as it happens. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. On AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And St. Fauci, the patron saint of COVID-19, had a little confab that the Amazon Post carried live yesterday. He was asked by one of their fungible reporters about two masks. And he said, my colleagues and I were just discussing this yesterday, talking about the CDC is looking at doing a study of seeing whether or not two masks are better than one, like two hearts are better than one, Amy.
Two hearts that beat as one.
It makes common sense, you would think.
Yeah.
Perhaps it doesn't make common sense. I don't know what's happening. The world is being turned upside down. But Michael Osterholm, who's an epidemiologist from the University of Minnesota, a favorite of the D.C. press corps, he says of the two masks that they could actually do more harm than good if one of the face coverings isn't being worn correctly. So he's sort of tried to middle the issue. Tony Fauci is keeping his options open. I think, frankly, per the Ioannidis protocol, banishing somebody who used to be considered one of the top epidemiologists in the world because he doesn't share the established opinion of Tony Fauci. Now Michael Osterholm has to be shut down, like John Ioannidis has been, from the D.C. press corps, not recognized as an expert anymore because he's sort of freelancing here and not really staying in formation with Fauci. And we're talking about science or common sense or something. Interesting. So there's all kinds of questions about masks. I know we were going to wear them forever. That's for sure. That's the good news. But I just want to make sure we have the right number of masks. We're starting young enough. Maybe in vitro.
Well,
I don't know.
I told you I was applying to Meat Market, and somebody had a 9-month-old with a mask on. A 9-month-old. That is a choking hazard. The kids should have pacifiers in their mouths, not masks on their face.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
child abuse.
I'd hate for that couple to have to be re-educated, or that mom to be re-educated by some air waitress following whatever the airlines say based on whatever Tony Fauci says that day. But there was this study in Germany about the impacts of mask wearing on kids. And by the end of last year, this registry that these German researchers created had been used by about 20,000 people who entered data on a total of almost 26,000 children. The average wearing time for masks for these kids was 270 minutes a day, so, like 4.5 hours.
Good Lord.
Impairments caused by wearing the mask were reported by 68% of parents. They included irritability, 60% reporting, headache, 53% reporting, difficulty concentrating, 50% reporting, less happiness, 49% reporting, Reluctance to go to school / kindergarten, 44% reporting. Malaise, 42% reporting. Impaired learning, 38% reporting. And drowsiness or fatigue, 37% reporting. And, of course, you know what I say to all that. Well, it's better to not learn or feel malaise than it is to die. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Dr. Eric Nepute. He's the owner of Nepute Wellness Centers in St. Louis, founder of Wellness Warrior as well. Dr. Nepute, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, good morning this morning. How are you today?
Good morning. What's your perspective on mask wearing? I guess start in vitro and let's go up in age from there.
Well, I tell you what, the thing with in vitro wearing is a very interesting topic to me, and I think at some point we're probably going to get there. With as crazy as the world is, one of the things that I always talk about is common sense, and how we say common sense isn't that common anymore, and we don't have common sense, we have COVID sense. And I think many of us remember back in, early when COVID started in the spring of last year, or when it really started getting rampant. When Tony Fauci, the Surgeon General, everybody said, hey, don't wear a mask. Wearing a mask during a pandemic literally gives you a false sense of protection, and just don't wear it. Well, and then we remember 2 weeks later, whenever they all changed their tune, and according to the World Health Organization, when they were interviewed by the BBC, they said, this is Dr. Cohen who said this, the reason why they changed their tune wasn't based off of empirical scientific data, it was based off of political persuasion. And then you remember when Tony Fauci came back and said, well, I did tell a lie, but it was a noble lie.
Yes.
And so the bottom line is he
obviously.
lied.
When we're talking about Fauci, we assume nobility. That is assumed.
Well, you know what assuming does. But I'll tell you this, is as a practicing physician and as a doctor that literally trains hundreds and thousands of doctors every year, one of the things that we're seeing in a rise, and I've been in practice 20 years, and I've never seen as much bacterial respiratory infections as I have now, especially in young children. And again, even Dr. Fauci said the number one cause of death during the Spanish flu of 1918 was respiratory bacterial infections. And we're finding that to be the case now. And just again, that study that came out of Germany is such a damning study because 26,000 kids were looked at, and you read off the impairments perfectly. And in a world that we live in right now where, kids already don't want to go to school, ADD, ADHD, and concentration are already on the rise. Now wearing a mask puts more impairments on these children and really puts our kids back decades.
Well,
and
Doctor,
Sorry, please go
No,
ahead.
no, go on. I was just going to say that the whole thing about bacterial pneumonia from wearing dirty masks, there's something to that. And I had Eric Zorn, he works for the Chicago Tribune, take me to task, like, that's fake news and that's not possible. That's what happened to me. They gave me a lung x-ray. I don't have COVID, but I had bacterial pneumonia. And what we were doing was throwing our masks in a bowl when we got home.
Yeah.
And then reusing them, and then maybe once a week washing them. They're like, no, you just use disposables every day, but that's going to clog up the landfills, and eventually all those masks are going to end up in the ocean. So forget the straws. We're going to have to worry about masks.
Well, you're 100% right. And then, one of the most, quite honestly, and no offense, but idiotic comments that I hear from individuals out there, when we're trained to do surgery, you hear people say, well, if you don't think masks work, then tell your doctor not to wear one the next time he or she does a procedure. Well, here's the common sense thing about that. What people don't think of is the fact that a mask worn in an operating room is used to keep my spit out of an open wound. You have to understand the human mouth has more bacteria in it than any other mammal on the planet. It's more filthy than the mouth of a pig, and that's a fact. And if I spit into an open wound where there's no immune system, that's going to cause an infection. So viruses have never been stopped by wearing masks in operating rooms. The only randomized controlled study that was done on this showed that clearly it does not do that, and that this is really more political motivated than anything. And quite honestly, I've spoken to 5 or 6 governors over the last 8 months. I've traveled all over the country educating, congressmen and senators and all these other interesting individuals, and people are making decisions based off of political ideals and not off of scientific ideals. And it's quite a shame. We just did a video the other day, a group of doctors and I that work together. We showed 103 journal articles and peer review articles that shows that wearing a mask does not stop the spread of the virus. Now, if an individual chooses to do so, guess what? This is still America, and they should have the free will to do that, but they should know their risks versus their benefits. And the reality is it does not scientifically prove to stop the spread of viruses, period.
So what I hear you saying is 2 masks? 3 masks?
10 masks?
4?
Right. And,
How many? What's the magic number?
The study out of Virginia Tech, when they said, well, maybe we should wear 2 masks, a mask and then a cloth mask over that gives us 75% protection, and wearing 3 of them gives us 90. 90 protection against what? Yes, you put a pillow over your face enough and smother it, you're going to not be able to get a virus in, but you're going to die because you can't breathe. Listen, the reality is this. We know this for a fact. If you have too much of a barrier between your mouth and the world, or your nose and the world, that's going to increase carbon dioxide more than anything, and that is a very scary proposition in the body, considering when carbon dioxide goes up, our body becomes more acidic. When we're acidic, we're more susceptible to sickness and disease. So we have some serious problems going on, and the mask is one of them. But the reality is this, is we've been so scared and feared into wearing this thing that I'm just telling you, people are scared to death to take their mask off.
Could you advise us on at what decibel level we should maintain our cheering during the Super Bowl this weekend? The CDC is a little unclear.
And if you
on
wear
this.
a mask, can you cheer?
Well, if you listen to Fauci and God bless old Deborah Birx and even the good old politicians in your area, you're supposed to just snap your fingers and not be excited about anything. God forbid people get vocal and talk and spread a virus. And in fact, if you look now, there was a study that was just published out that shows that there's more anal, oral spread of fecal matter to the mouth to spread COVID than there is droplets to droplets. So
I don't know who those people are hanging out with, but those are not my friends.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Well, so we got an answer for that. We got the Chinese anal swabs that are going to be popularized at the airports.
Yeah.
Well, soon coming to a neighborhood near you, as well as the drive-through anal swabs. That ought to be a pretty drive-by.
Can you pull a little closer to the window, sir? Yes. I want to ask, people that are wearing masks outside, wasn't the purpose of wearing a mask outside is if you can't be 6 feet apart from somebody? Because there's so many lobotomized people that, one thing I realize there's a lot of lemmings out there that we're never going to reach. But isn't that the purpose to wear a mask if the bottom line, why wear a mask outside?
There is no reason to do so. I literally had on one of my radio shows, we did a debate against a PhD Nobel Prize winning scientist who put out there that, we should definitely wear masks 24/7, 365, no matter what. And one of the topics we discussed was wearing a mask outside. And he even admitted there's absolutely no data, no science, no point whatsoever of wearing a mask outside. So again, people are just doing things to do things. Kind of like when you go to the grocery store and you see the plexiglass between you and the cashier. That's not doing anything. That's false evidence. That's doing something to think that we're doing something. And I agree with the fact that one thing that Tony Fauci did say at the beginning that is true is wearing a mask gives someone false protection of something because they're always fiddling with their face. They're not wearing the mask right. It's causing more harm than good. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to realize that it is our decision. It's our bodies. It's our right. It's our decision to do what we want to do. And these mask-wearing situations, it's just gone way, way out of hand.
Maybe like with the taking the vaccine and you have like politicians or old people that take the vaccine in a very public way as to provide examples to others and stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe we could do the same thing with the anal swabs. I'd like to see Tony Fauci be anal swabbed on television so that I feel more comfortable when I take my next flight to Southwest Florida. Sure, go ahead. If Fauci can do it, then please swab away. What do you think?
We're laughing about this, but you wait and see until that shows up on a television commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear that there's a group of people at some point, I don't know if it's the CDC, I don't know if it's a marketing company, but I think there's a group of about 20 guys, and they're smoking some of the best legalized marijuana out there, and they're saying, hey, let's see if they'll do this. And then whenever they go, oh, my gosh, I can't believe they did that. Yeah. Now tell them to do this. That's what's happening right now.
The reality. You think anal swab is going to come here? That's going to happen?
Cross my
let
fingers.
me just tell you this. God bless you both. You can go to the front of the line to get that done. But what I'll tell you is this. Did you ever think that we'd have a mandate for a mask? Did you ever think that we'd have restaurants and businesses shut down for over a year? Did you ever think that we'd have a potential forced vaccine program in our country? I mean, again, I'm all about freedom to choose, but, the things that have happened over the last 14 months, who would have ever predicted this? So who knows what's going to come out next?
We still don't have school. Yeah.
Dr. Eric Nepute, owner of Nepute Wellness Centers in St. Louis, founder of Wellness Warrior as well. Doc, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a blessed day, everybody.
You too. Thank you so much. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. One city council's tampering will cost Kroger workers their jobs. Planters nuts about to be sold. Whole Foods markets facing lawsuit over graham crackers. Those stories next. Lou Dobbs here. Looking for predictable monthly cash flow? Is the potential of 10% annualized immediate monthly payout good for starters? How about bonuses targeted to 21%? If you want the safety and security of a real estate investment, but without the hassles of being a landlord, you've probably heard of NRIA. NRIA is an industry-leading real estate development firm in its 15th year developing strategically located, low-risk, high-demand neighborhoods based on supply-demand imbalance. They are a great fit for investors who want to seek the safety of cash flow and diversification into carefully chosen real estate. Learn more about the NRIA Real Estate Development Fund at nria.net or call 201-210-2727. That's 201-210-2727.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
In a lesson in real-world economics, grocery chain Kroger now closing 2 supermarkets in Southern California after local officials mandated increases in wages. The Long Beach City Council ordered a $4 an hour increase. To offset those increases, Kroger will permanently close 2 of its supermarkets in the area. A deal is near for Kraft Heinz Company to sell its Planters Nuts and Snacks division, valued at $3 billion, to Hormel Foods, owners of Skippy Peanut Butter. Whole Foods markets must face a class action lawsuit that charges it deceived shoppers about the contents of its organic honey graham